I was not expecting to like this blaster more than the Nexus Pro X, but here we are. The Aeon Pro X, for me, is the blaster of this X series. The Aeon Pro X is the sibling to the Nexus Pro X, this guy right here, and is a refresh of sorts of the original Aeon Pro from Adventure Force by the way of dartzone. The original Aeon Pro was a bit of a miracle, and the reason I say that is because it was such a small, compact blaster that did full-length darts, it did short-length darts, and it was extremely powerful, all for the price of $25. Now, when you can think of what $25 gets you in the blaster aisle, you wouldn't necessarily think of a competition-grade blaster, but the Aeon Pro fit that bill very nicely. It wasn't without faults, though. Namely, I didn't like how the original one primed. It was both sloppy and too stiff. That might seem contradictory, but it really wasn't. Because it had to make room for full-length darts and short-length darts, the prime had a bit of wiggle to it. But when you actively engage the spring, it wasn't the smoothest blaster to operate. The Aeon Pro X ditches the full-length dart. It goes just half-length dart exclusive. And while it might seem like a downgrade, for me, it's actually an upgrade. And it gives us a bigger, at least more comfortable handle for me to prime this thing. So let's get this thing out. Let's talk a little bit more what I like about it, what I don't like, what I might have changed. All right, Aeon Pro X, here we go. Now here's what I like about the Aeon Pro X, and I've already kind of talked about it, right? It's the fact that it uses half-length darts exclusively. The other thing that I like about it is that it comes with the SCAR barrel included. This is one of those things that should be included de facto in most performance blasters now, but you really don't need to as long as you have an Aeon Pro, because the way this works is this end right here fits inside the Aeon Pro X, and if you have a slightly bigger barrel diameter, you can accommodate it using it this way. Pretty versatile. Other big thing that they included was a stock attachment point, which the first one was sorely missing, and it has 3 different sets of Picatinny rails. At the front, this top rail right here is a little limited, it's very small, and this sight right here, I don't know how accurate this thing is going to be. And considering that the handle is also the iron sights, when you try to prime this thing, you can't get a clear view. This stock attachment point for any sort of Nerf attachment is such an amazing upgrade because it, again, solves a problem that the original Aeon Pro had, is that blaster was just kind of it. And if you take something like one of these worker stocks and you plug it in there, you have an extremely comfortable blaster. While it is one of the overhand prime style blasters, which isn't everybody's cup of tea, it makes it really nice to shoulder, and you can use this extremely effectively. Now, what I'm not crazy about this blaster is few and far between, and one of them might seem extra silly because it's just a cosmetic thing, but this printed technology right here, where it has the Aeon Pro X name and logo and stuff like that, it doesn't really match with the rest of the blaster. I mean, I guess if you put this one side by side with the Nexus Pro X like this, you can tell that they belong together. But if you're just using an Aeon Pro X, it looks like somebody did an unfinished paint mod on this side. Again, small complaint, doesn't affect the performance, doesn't affect the usability of it. It's, you know, just one of those things that I don't like. One thing I don't necessarily like about this is that it's more difficult to swap out springs from what I can tell. There isn't an easy back access hatch for the spring to swap in and out, different spring loads, different compressions, things like that. That's what makes the Nexus Pro so good, is that you can tune it to how you want it, whereas this, like, you're locked in with what they give you here unless you are comfortable opening up the blaster, dropping in a new spring, just doing like old school mods. One thing I would have changed about the Aeon Pro X is include a stock of some kind. Because it has the stock attachment point, I think we can assume that most people who buy this probably have something they already like already. But if we're considering this as like a full product, something that somebody could like take off the store shelves at Walmart and just start playing a competitive game, it is missing a stock. Probably not going to get away with a $25 price for this then, but I think the extra $5 or whatever the extra cost for a stock would be is well worth it when you're working with a blaster like this. Would it cause confusion with some of the Nexus Pro X stuff? I mean, we could probably have endless debates about that. But it has a stock attachment point. Just including something to finish it off in the back area of the blaster would have been extremely nice. One thing I really haven't talked about is that it has 2 mag releases. It has this one right here, and it has this one right here. It's nice that the mags do gravity drop, but this is one of the things I would have changed. This secondary mag release right here, I would have preferred to have it kick out. I'm sure there's mechanical reasons why it doesn't do that, or it's just a preference or a style thing. It's just I like to have my finger kick out when I do that rather than pull it back. Again, something I would have changed. This isn't one of those product breaking things that make it unusable. It's just a preference thing. I think this is the better upgrade from the Aeon Pro to the Aeon Pro X than from the Nexus Pro to the Nexus Pro X. There are so many little fine details tuned with this that it makes it a much more enjoyable blaster to use than the original Aeon Pro. This is truly an upgrade worth getting. If you already have an Aeon Pro, you're going to like this one so much better. The only trade-off, of course, is that you are only going half-length darts. But if we think years and years ago when the original Adventure Force Pro blasters came out, a lot has changed. So much has changed, and I think by now people have decided what type of darts they like to use best. And if you're using half-length darts, having something that goes between both worlds at this point is a little redundant, especially because you can probably still find original Aeon Pros that would then fit that bill for you. This is a finely built blaster. And again, I like this one more in terms of like upgrade jump than I do the Nexus Pro X. I didn't really see that coming because the original Aeon Pro, while a fine blaster, the Nexus Pro compared to it was such a better option. Whereas this go around, it's kind of a toss-up, to be honest. Anyway, you gotta let me know what you think about the Nexus Pro X as well as the Aeon Pro X. I really like what they've done with this. And if you want to get more information about blasters, collectibles, pop culture things, G.I. Joes, action figures, 6-inch scale, yeah, you definitely have to follow along. You made it this far into the video, so I know you probably like similar things to me, and I'll be posting more videos on all this stuff. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.